Welcome to Horton Implants Oral Bites with your hosts, Kate Bootman, Will Murphy, and Carl Horton.
Just to wind us up.
I don't have to press the camera button.
Hi, good evening, everybody. Welcome back. Hope you've had a lovely week and that you survived bonfire night. You will see we've got the motley crew in the form of Will Murphy and Carl Horton. Good evening, gentlemen.
Evening.
And you will also see that we are joined by the fabulous Steve Snook from Southern Implants. Hi, Steve.
Evening. Hi, Kate. Evening, all.
Evening.
How you all right?
Yeah, very good. Thank you.
Fantastic, fantastic. Now, Steve, sit down, brace yourself. These boys have been told they're going to be on their best behaviour, but I can't make promises. Can't make promises. Right, gentlemen, you know the question, the burning question. How has your week been? Carl Horton.
Oh, yes. It's been fantastic. It's been fantastic. Actually, we had a visit from Keaton, who Steve might know, because they work together. So that was, we dragged him all the way over to Wales to talk to us about some implants, and a very, very good job he did. And he quite enjoyed the journey, I think, because it's quite a scenic journey over that way. There's no other way there, because if you do, well, sorry, Will, I suppose there is. You can get a boat.
It's all cross country, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Yeah.
It is.
And the bit that's still confusing people is the fact that they've blocked the road off because they're worried about this church, which is got bricks like the size of huge boulders, bigger than Stonehenge. And they're worried about this church falling into the road. So they've blocked the road off. And I think it's a tussle between the council wanting him to knock it down or rebuild it and make it safe, and him going, I'm just going to wait for it to fall down, because it's a listed building, so it's going to cost him a lot of money. So we get all these rumors from all these patients that come in and tell us all about this story of this church. It was on the news, actually national news, not just local Newtown news. I don't know why I'm talking about. Oh yes, so he had to detour around to get to the practice. So busy week there, and then full arch case today. Lovely full arch case again with DSD fitting the bridge. So very, very, very nice patient. Lovely result.
Shout out to Danny from DSD.
Yeah, really, really good, really good. So yeah, well done. So that was today, and probably have to remind me what I did on Thursday, Kate.
We were in Newtown again.
Oh, we
Another
were.
full day.
Yeah, it was 2 days in Wales, wasn't it? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah, see, and then over at Carlton Chambers on Monday again, fitting bridges, and just doing some general implant work. Nice, straightforward cases on Monday. So, like you said, Will, it's nice to mix it up sometimes from all the way from the complex all the way down to some single units. It was very, very, very nice. So it's been a varied week. Very, very exciting. And then I was teaching up at UCLan. So I've done a lot of traveling, but probably not as much as Steve by the sounds of it. But yeah, lots of sort of traveling up to Preston, which is an old haunt of mine. I did a HND in microbiology many, many years ago, probably before you were born, Will. Because do you remember those things called polytechnics?
Makes me feel good.
Yeah. So it wasn't a uni in those days, but they've got this fantastic medical and dental school now. So I was there helping out with the students, and they sort of place on patients, so they do some live implant work. And it's the setup they've got there is really, really good. So I don't get paid, by the way, but if you're interested in doing an implant MSc, I'd strongly suggest you have a look at it. It's a great course. So I think they get 15 days hands-on, and then you get a selection, implant placements, bridge fits, crown fits, all the works.
Is there not an HND version of the course that I could do?
That course, mate.
I come from the school of O levels. I mean,
yeah.
Did you do O levels?
I did, yeah. I did O levels, but they were changing it at the time. So we did O levels and something called 16 plus, which was the kind of the new version of the GCSEs. So they trialed this thing called a 16 plus, which was kind of partly modular. So I did all right on the modules. It was the exams.
I can throw him off so easily. I just drop something in.
I know.
And
I
off
know.
he goes.
I
Just
know.
reel him in every time.
That was my week.
It must be hard doing that kind. Must
That
have
was
been
your
hard
week.
doing
That was your last 30 years, I think. We got.
Yeah.
Will Murphy, how
Hello.
has your week been?
2 weeks.
Tell us. Oh, it has. Yes,
2
of course.
weeks, yeah.
Tell us
Yeah.
the question
little-
we all want to know.
Oh well.
Trios.
Well, there you go. If we're starting from today, we had a little Trios tutorial online in the surgery.
Okay.
So that was all very good. So I can now plug it in the wall and hit the on button. So, all in good time. So the digital dinosaur is slowly thawing out into the new world. So that's all good. That looks like it's taking care of itself. What else was that? Went to the ADI forum on Saturday. Yeah. So that was good. So we saw our friend Amit take over the reins as the new president, and Ema say bye-bye to everybody. So obviously she'd had a pretty torrid time over the last 2 years, and obviously done a remarkable job. And you know what, it was really nice, because obviously it can be very insular, can't it, in our little world of our cottage industry, sitting in the surgeries, and then just seeing different people's perspectives to get a whole range of quality of speakers, some excellent, really good speakers. Obviously Martin Wanadeo was there, Nigel Jones, great ones, and little tips and things that you pick up, a little
Sorry, I thought you were gonna list them all and grade them from Martin
just go through them
being
all.
really good to who was really poor for a second there.
Well, there was a couple of ones where you're like, "Ooh,
okay.
Ooh, you're pushing the envelope." I'm not going to name names on those ones.
Good.
But there was a couple where I could see people looking at each other going, okay. Raised eyebrows, but there you go. Fair enough. They stood up on the platform and said their bit. So and I think that's the whole idea of it, isn't it? Just to see that wide variety of the members, doing their bit. So I really enjoyed that. Picked up some little tips. A company called Cervico, who do these little molds for shaping soft tissue and emergence profile. Really clever, a little key that helps you, just position your implants, and then little molds so you can almost make your own customized healing abutments at the time of surgery. So that goes straight in, cuts down having to do as much sort of tissue shaping and things like that over time. So that was great, really enjoyed it. Apart from that, same old running around putting implants in, and actually it takes us full circle, because I was Keaton called over a few weeks ago, took me out for lunch. So if you're wondering why the bar bill was running into thousands, Steve,
was that you? That one?
That was me. Sorry. And it was lunchtime, so I had to stay there. It was all responsible drinking, though. A responsible 25, not really, just a boring Diet Coke. But there you go. But next time, if he comes on a Friday, that's it. Yeah, we're out for the weekend.
Look out.
Listen, by the sounds of the scenic drive there, I think I'm going to tell Keaton to stay home and I'll come.
Yeah.
It sounds like a great drive to Wales. Only one road or a boat.
Yeah, exactly.
Pretty much.
Talking of Wales, I'm a Cardiff boy, you see, and so I'm not sure I should be speaking to you, Steve, after the rugby.
I was going to try and avoid that subject. I'm sorry about that. Yeah. It was a very tight game, and I actually thought Wales were going to win and probably deserve to win too.
Yeah. So we had one of our own supporters trying to trip up our winger, which didn't help. But there you go.
That's a bit, yeah. So I'll be at Murrayfield tomorrow, actually, to watch that game.
Oh wow,
excellent, good.
One of the nurses that we were with had a ticket for the game, and so I said, how was it? She went, I didn't go. Couldn't find anybody to go with her.
What?
No.
I know. Yeah, that's kind of my reaction as well. It was like, what?
Bless her.
Yeah.
She asked us.
She did.
Kate, what are you doing on Saturday?
Yeah.
I said, well, I'm away. I was going to ask if you wanted to come to the rugby.
Yeah.
Listen, a day out in Cardiff at the rugby, you just don't want to pass that up, I'll tell you.
I know.
And, that's the one stadium I haven't been to yet, and it's the one that I most want to go to. You see it on telly, even growing up as a kid.
We should have met up a couple of weeks ago, shouldn't we? I could have got you a ticket, mate.
Get the anthem going, and you're straight out of the stadium, straight into Cardiff.
Yeah,
good times.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, gentlemen, thank you for behaving so far. Steve, hello and welcome. Please do. I mean, we want you to tell us more about what you do. You're a managing director for Southern Implants, is that correct?
Yep, that's right. Yep, for Southern Implants, UK and Ireland.
Okay. And how long have you been with Southern Implants?
Yo, I'm one of the new ones, Kate. Southern's been going for 34 years now. I've only been with Southern for 11 years. So I'm honestly one of the new ones. It's one of these companies where people don't leave. And, 11 years in, and you're still one of the new ones.
Brilliant.
There's a lot about the company.
That's impressive.
Yeah. There's quite a few people who've been there for 20 years, 25, 30, and a handful that have been there from the start.
Oh, wow.
So it's really,
The bit that I'm curious in is where are you talking from at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the anomalies. So our head office is in Chiswick in West London, beautiful offices there. And that's where our stock is and everything, and our office team. But I actually live on a little island off the west coast of Scotland called the Isle of Bute.
But your accent doesn't quite.
Yeah. So I've been in the UK for 15 years. Scotland all of that time, but originally from South Africa, obviously.
Which part?
Cape Town. Simonstown, actually. I don't know if you've been there. If you've been to where the penguins are on Boulders Beach.
Yeah. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was. It was one of my. I was going to say my 40th birthday present, but it wasn't my 40th. But yeah, and just there's lots and lots of things that I liked about it.
Yeah.
But the fact that you can take alcohol into the restaurant was probably. I love that. The food was amazing.
Yeah.
But you're up in. What made you move to Scotland?
Just
not
family,
the weather.
It wasn't the weather. The kid's mother wanted to move, and her heritage is Scottish.
Yeah.
So that's what happened. So my kids were young when we came here, and they speak with Scottish accents now. It's quite bizarre. It's strange.
Mine have got Birmingham accents. But what can you do?
Yeah. Anyway, we absolutely love the place, and
great.
We've been on the island here for I think just over 4 years now.
Yeah.
So I've only been MD for I think going on 3 years now.
Yeah.
But that wasn't in my plans to become MD at all. And so I thought, well, I can just live on the island. It's fine. It's a sort of half-hour boat to the mainland, 35 minutes. And from there, it's only 40 minutes into Glasgow. So I thought it was doable. But anyway, then this little promotion came along, and I thought, oh boy, initially they wanted me to move to London. So I said, no, well, just pass me over because I'm not moving. And then I thought about it, and Graham Blackbeard, I said, well, we'll put a business plan in anyway. And I thought about it, and I thought, you know what, I actually do about 250 hotel nights a year anyway, even before I was MD. And my home base is academic. I basically just go where I'm needed. And he accepted that, fortunately. So I didn't have to move.
Brilliant.
About 250 hotel nights a year. But it's very nice when I'm home because to live on a little island. It's lovely.
Yeah.
I bet. I mean,
I
picked up on you saying,
no.
Sorry, Mr. Horton.
No. I was going to say some trivial thing. Like the other thing is, you say that it takes like 35 minutes to get from your island to the mainland. It takes longer than that for me to get from here to the town centre, which is probably 1/16 of the distance that you have to travel. So a much more pleasant experience, I imagine. Sorry, Kate. Anyway, you're going to say.
No, not at all. It's only because Keaton was telling us in the week. He was telling us about. Did you say Graham Blackbeard?
Graham Blackbeard, yes.
Is it Graham?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I quite obviously said, "Oh my goodness, that sounds like a pirate."
Yeah.
And then obviously Eden went on to explain that he actually did make cannons. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right.
Brilliant.
So he's such an interesting guy. Obviously very clever. He's the founder, but he's a mechanical engineer to trade. He did mechanical engineering. Then he went to Utah on a Rotary scholarship and did bioengineering. So he was making titanium heart valves and stuff. Then he did a master's in industrial engineering. So that's the one he's designing. The one is how to actually manufacture. Very clever guy. But all of us South Africans of a certain age, we all got conscripted and got sent off to war in Angola. That was sort of the end of the. So we talk 87. In fact, I was in the thick of the war in 1987, which is the year Southern Implants was founded. But that was the end of the Cold War. The Russians and everybody coming down and us going up, supported by Britain and America, the West going up.
Yeah.
And it was just an interesting time. But Graham, being a clever engineer, for his conscription, they didn't send him off like cannon fodder like they did to me. They sent him to the arms factory, being a clever engineer. And it's interesting, the relationship between Graham's background, and you go back to Prof. Brannemark even, when he discovered osseointegration, 1952. He needed to find someone to go and work closely with to develop these implants. And he knocked on the door of Nobel, Alfred Nobel, which at the time was famous for making Bofors cannons. And they produced these cannons. That's what Nobel did. They produced these cannons that all the militaries in the world bought and shot each other with. But they knew how to work with these materials. And Nobel Biocare was formed, a few years after that. And Graham Blackbeard, a very similar idea. So, he got, wherever there's an arms industry, there's always a very good medical devices industry right next door.
Yeah.
Because they share the same technology, and the engineers, they're still engineers from each other, and it's very much aligned. And so Graham went off to Arms Corps for his national service, and they needed him to make a cannon. It's called a G5 cannon. And this thing shoots 40 kilometers and it has an accuracy of 1 meter. But you can imagine anything that shoots that kind of distance, the barrel will just explode with the amount of force. So Graham learned how to work with materials, let's say, and processes to develop a material strong enough to withstand this thing. I think this thing can shoot 3 rounds a minute, 40 kilometers. And it's used even today all over the world, and people shoot each other with it. And it was a very comforting sound to us, hearing these things coming over our heads, landing ahead of us. So interesting. But so Graham, he's one of these guys. It's a long story, but it backs into the materials we use. He insists on only the very best materials. So he's, grade 4 pure titanium. That's the only thing we'll ever use.
Yeah.
For biological reasons. But of course, this isn't, it's a bit soft. Grade 4 pure titanium. And a lot of manufacturers have gone to grade 5 alloys because it's a bit stronger and it's easier to machine and it's cheaper, blah, blah, blah. But Graham, he didn't accept that. So we worked with the same foundry now for 20 odd years in the States. And he developed a process much like what he did with the cannon, the barrel of the cannon. He's developed this grade 4, this process that makes the grade 4 pure titanium we use about 30% stronger. So similar strength to alloy, but it's pure grade 4. And all of that knowledge comes back from those days. So it's very interesting.
Yeah. So Steve, in an age where a lot of implants are kind of morphing into a similar sort of thing, I guess we can give you a sort of shot at a bit of Southern promotion to all our millions of viewers out there. What's different about Southern in terms of, obviously you've told us about the titanium, but anything else that might be different that might, make us more interested in your implants over others?
Sure. I think
yes, they have a pirate working there.
Apart from the pirate and the cannons.
That's a good reason in itself.
It's enough.
Did we say anymore? There's a pirate.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think probably the best way to describe Southern is, we've got a regular implants, the same as everybody else. In other words, straight implants of different diameters and lengths, etc. And you can use those and angle them and use angled multi-units, abutments to correct angles in the normal way. So we've got that whole range. And then we've got an advanced range. And the advanced range is the Coaxis implants. So basically what we've done is we've got rid of the multi-unit abutment and we've pushed that into the implant so that we correct angles in the bone rather than up in the tissue. So the surgeon, it's very nice for referring dentists because, you can make nice, easy restorations for your referrers. So the surgeon gets to do the tap dancing and avoid unhelpful anatomy using angled implants. But restoratively, everything is just dead straight and simple. It's just straight multi-units. The premaxilla, all of these ones here, you can stick the implant into bone, but have the screw axis coming out in the cingulum without the need for angled screw channels or cement or anything like that. So that's the one thing. And then, of course, I'm sure it's fair to say we're leaders in the zygomatic implants. We've been doing those for 22, 23 years now. And we work very closely with Prof. Brandenmark on that. Nasalis implants, these maxi median molar implants. So that whole range we've got a range of mini implants. We've got basically a whole bunch of site-specific implants. So I think clinicians can limit themselves to the standard range, and that's good and well, or you can step up and do the advanced one and make the restorative side much easier.
And obviously, days where you get a lot of copycat things, how do you sort of protect some of these designs like Coaxis and things like that? Is that tricky in today's age of copycats?
Yeah, I think it's a good question, Will, and I think that most companies are run by banks, are owned by banks, and they go for the sweet spot. So the sweet spot is a 4mm 11.5 implant, and they're simple to use, and you can give them to anybody who's had a bit of implant training, and they can get on with it. And what we found, Coaxis, can you believe it? It's 20 years old now. 20 years old.
Wow.
And we're an engineering-driven company, not a marketing-driven company.
Yeah.
So if you want to see Graham Blackbeard, the pirate, just glaze over, you ask him for money for marketing, and he just, just glazes.
Yeah.
But you want to go and do a clinical study or something, he's wide open, and it's all happening.
Uh-huh.
And so Graham isn't driven by marketing or even sales. Our team don't have a sales target.
Excellent. Yeah, actually, yeah.
And
I know, because we asked not that direct question, but we were talking a little bit about that because you're putting the package together and everything like that, and we asked who do we order through, and Keaton kind of said it doesn't matter. You just order through. You can order through me, or you can order through companies, whatever works for you guys. So he was talking about that you are kind of going online with some kind of ordering system. Hopefully, you're talking about it, but that's not there at the moment. But it might be up and running.
It's a very interesting. That's another interesting thing, Carl. So we've got access to. I can actually tomorrow say yes. Let's bolt in that online ordering thing.
Yeah.
And let's have that. But actually, our customers don't want us to do that.
Yeah.
Because a lot of them have got really good relationships with our team, our office team. We've been there for many years. All of them, they know their stuff backwards. They can pick up the phone. They get greeted by name. They know exactly who they're dealing with. And you could probably, I sit in the office and I hear them. You could probably say to them, that thingy bob that you sent me last week, the green one, let's put it on top of that one. I need another 3. Okay, it's on its way. And, with our products that are quite technical, very often the team keep things right, and they can spot if there's an error being made, like, oh, hang on, that healing abutment doesn't go with that implant.
Yeah, well, these are the only way I refer to things. You know, I want the fat healing abutment, or I want the skinny short one.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought it was you, Will.
The one that looks like a bottle top. I'll have that one. You know.
So it's funny, in one of our forums,
scratching their heads.
One of our forums a couple of years ago, we asked our customers if they would like us to go online, and they please don't. You know, and it's probably one of our strengths that our team, our office team, our reps as well. You know. They're just really good.
And I think you're quite reactive as well, because obviously, you know, we were chatting with a group of people that do use your implants for the immediate loading, and they were explaining to us that they'd noticed that one of the little screws were, you know, not as satisfactory as they would have liked, so they fed that back, and you know, you engineered a slightly different head and resolved that. And I think as a small company, that's probably something, you know, much easier to do than some of the bigger companies might not have either chosen, oh well, we're not going to do it. But I think, you know, the fact that you could do something like that, I thought was quite impressive. It was nice to hear that you listened to the feedback and you adapted it and changed. So I think that's something that's really good, really impressive.
Absolutely, it's quite literally what keeps us driven, being engineering driven. Nothing makes our engineers' tails wag more than somebody coming with a problem.
Yeah.
So when you describe, you know, if you do this and that, and the bone is like that, and the sinus is this, but this, they just love it. And so we're able to turn things around, you know, quite quickly. And it's our lifeblood. You know, all of our clever implants have been designed by prosthodontists. All of them. It's all restoratively driven. And
brilliant.
Yeah, maybe I can tell you two quick stories. The one was, in fact, Coaxis. So Professor Dale Howe's prosthodontist and Greg Boisvali, MaxVac surgeon, worked together 20 odd years, really top of the game. Dale Howe's is Sydney University now. He's just moved recently. But you know, they love each other. It's love-hate. And I don't know if there's an age restriction on this webinar, but you know,
you're fine, mate. You go ahead.
Having passage sex a couple of times, you know, after surgery, it's like if you, because you know, Greg's the surgeon and he wants to put the implant in bone, and Dal is saying, he's in theatre with him, these big cases now. Well, could you just put it a little bit this way, and Greg is saying, well, hang on, there's no bone there. And, you know, you must respect my surgical principles. And Dale says to him, well, hang on, you must respect my prosthodontic principles, because these patients live with me, not with you. Those are my implants, not yours. And actually, it was in the small hours one night after a busy day in surgery, let's say, where some passage sex might have happened, that Dale twigged, well, hang on a second, what if we build an implant where I can give Greg he can put the implant in the bone, but I can have the restoration coming out where I need it to come out. And that's where Coaxis was born. And they did the research. Wow. And it started with the 12 degree, and then the 24 degree, and the 36, and then the 55 degrees zygomatic implant. But that's how that was born.
Brilliant.
Actually, very much like the
love that.
So Stephen Chu, everybody knows Stephen Chu, right? And Dennis Tano.
Yeah. So
Stephen Chu and Dennis Tano have a similar relationship to Greg and Dale. So Tano is the surgeon, and on these central incisors, he was insisting on using 5mm implants because he needed stability. He's a surgeon, he wants stability because Chu wants to load this thing. But of course, coronally, there's not much bone. And yet that's the widest part of the implant. And apically, where there's lots of bone, that's the narrowest part of the implant. And so that's when Chu thought, well, what if we turn the implant upside down? And we'll have the fat part where there's lots of bone and a narrow sort of collar coronally, so I can do my prosthodontics and get a nice emergence and not lose bone. And Tano can have his damn 5mm sort of implant apically anyway. And that's where Inverta was born. And it's the story of the surgeon and the pros guys wanting to the best and respecting each other's principles. And Inverta, of course,
brilliant.
I don't know if you've seen them yet, but they do exactly what they say on the tin.
It's really clever thinking, isn't it? Really clever thinking.
And
I love it.
but it takes clever guys to actually think out of the box. When I first saw the shape, I thought, what the heck are they thinking? And it was only when Chu explained the rationale and he turned the implant upside down, and I could say, oh, well, that makes such sense. And of course it does. So all of these developments, our clever implants, I call them, come from prosthodontists who are frustrated with their surgeons, and they want solutions.
You know that feeling, Will?
Yeah. Because I place for, or have done for, various prosthodontists, but one particular who was probably a bit long in the tooth. We'd go for lunch, you see, during
passive
during my day. There was a bit of more passive aggressive, I'd say, than anything else. And actually it wasn't particularly passive, because we'd sit there over our salads or pizzas as he would tell me, how rubbish Mrs. Jones's implant was placed, and so we didn't come up with any clever ideas. I think I just got indigestion kind of time, just felt generally a bit small on occasion.
You throw these problems you describe these problems to someone like Graham Blackbeard, and he just loves it. That's what gets him up in the morning.
Yeah. I don't have the engineering brain, really. I just sat there and took it and sulked into my pizza.
Brilliant. Well, at least they told you. No one tells me.
Yeah, mate. I know. Yeah. Well, it was pretty straight.
Yeah.
They ring me instead.
And then Kate, don't tell me. So I mean, you've been MD for, did you say 2-3 years? 3 years?
Yeah, coming up for 3 years now. So
yeah. What were you doing in the company before that?
I started as a self-employed agent. I started Southern Implants just in Scotland, really, and then became employed about 9 months later doing Scotland and Ireland, repping basically.
Yeah.
I can then became national sales manager, and I did that for a few years, and then MD. So once I was national sales manager, obviously that covered lots of the whole of the UK and Ireland, and lots of the European supporting our European subsidiaries as well.
Yeah.
I had a sort of training hat as well, so I went across and trained the US team as well in Florida, and just supporting the European, close by subsidiaries. And then my predecessor, David Lewis, he took the baton and became MD of North America, which left the vacancy here in the UK.
Yeah.
And so that's how it all worked out. But new in the door, only 11 years, one of the new ones still.
Yeah. Still a baby, mate. Still a baby. Yeah. And out of the sort of 250 hotels, which one's your favourite? Because Will obviously likes to visit the odd hotel now and again.
Yeah,
as long as there's an implant company paying,
yeah. Well,
sounds a little dodgy, that Will, but.
Well, our office is in Chiswick, and there's a very nice hotel right next door to the office, so it's handy. But it's a very nice hotel called the Clayton Chiswick.
Yep.
That's a good one. When I'm in Northern Ireland, I quite like Lochern.
Yeah. Is it based on the whiskey? Is it based on the bar, or?
There might be that, and there might be a golf course as well. Possibly.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
and on the water there, it's just a beautiful part of the world.
Yeah.
So I always try and end up down that way for the overnight.
Nice.
I love Belfast, obviously, as well. And, you get a little bit spoilt with all these hotels and travels, and there's some
Yeah. And when we had lockdown and traveling was kind of restricted, how did you find that? Was it sort of business as usual, but just done by Zoom, or was that? I mean, really, I suppose coming into it, you've kind of been hit fairly. You've had your first year, then COVID's hit, and then you've had your last 2 years.
Yeah.
So that must have been it's been a bit of a challenge for you, I would imagine.
Yeah, I must say it did make my clutch slip a little bit, because I just became MD. I had lots to get my head around. I mean, the regulatory stuff is just unbelievable.
Yeah.
You can't imagine it. And the procurement and all the finance side of things. And, it's quite something when they say, right, well, there's the bank account, there's the checkbook, there's everything, carry on. You think, okay. So I had quite a lot to get my head around. And then the pandemic hit.
Yeah.
Each country was so different in its response to everyone else. You couldn't really pick up a phone to Graham Blackbeard and say, what do I do here? And so we had to just work it through ourselves and do what we thought was right. And what we thought was right was just to get out in the field as quickly as we could and do what we could to help dentists back to work. So we were fortunate to be able to find a course to to become certified face fit testers. And I think we've done well over 1,000 face fits. Our team has. They've got their own kits, and they can do face fit testing as they go. But during hard lockdown, that enabled us to get on the road and go and see. Not only our customers, we did that for anybody. And that was nice. We felt like we were being useful at least, and it got us out a little bit, because some of us just aren't designed to sit still for too long.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah.
And we talked a little bit. I mean, you mentioned about the zygomatics and the nasalis and the pterygoid implants, and you've got a course coming up. I think, did you say it's in Glasgow or Scotland based?
That's right. Yeah, it's in Mar Hall. It's a lovely hotel, actually. I haven't stayed there yet, but I'll let you know. It looks good.
Be on that list.
Funny enough,
Will's on there.
Also, I've got a golf course and also on the water. Funny enough,
excellent.
There's a theme developing there.
Yeah.
But it's our second one. We ran one in Manchester in when was it? May, I think, which was fantastic.
Yeah.
And this is the second one this year. So we've got, I think, 35 or 40 delegates, but it's hands-on with zygomatic, nasalis, Coaxis, max immediate molars, and also tissue level implants.
Yeah.
So it's 2 full-on days with hands-on in every one of those things. So it's really looking forward to it. Real top end.
When your delegates, your delegates have got to be experienced implantologists.
Yeah.
For the course like that, and when they're walking away with that, are they walking away with the ability to place those implants? Is that the skills they're going to develop on the course?
Yeah, it'll certainly give them the ability to be able to discuss those treatment options very confidently. And with zygomatics and things, we'd hope they wouldn't do a weekend course and go and place them. But certainly offer it as a treatment option and know who to refer to or who to bring in as to mentor. And start that journey if that's what they want to do.
So it's the beginning of that process.
Absolutely, it's an ongoing process. But certainly, Coaxis implants, inverta, the immediate molars, the tissue levels. Absolutely, you could go and have a go with those, no problem. And probably get on very well with them without too much sweat. The nasalis, I guess anybody who's used to working with sinuses would be very comfortable placing nasalis as well. 24-degree. It's basically just a very long 24-degree Coaxis. So anyone comfortable with working in sinuses, that's a treatment option that they could use quite comfortably after the course. It's really just the zygos that I think takes a lot more than a weekend course.
100%. Yeah, totally agree. I think as with mentoring is a big factor in pretty much all of implantology, really.
Absolutely, absolutely. So very much the people who come on our courses are experienced, implant surgeons. We've always, for as long as we've been going, we focused really just on the top, the sort of top little triangle there, and people who are doing these, providing lots of immediate treatments, full arches, these aesthetic anteriors. A lot of our stuff is right up their alley, so they find it useful.
Fantastic.
Sounds very good. Gentlemen, I'm afraid we've reached that magic time. Yes way.
I always say that.
Yes so quick.
I know. It's gone really, really quick.
Yes.
Will's got to go and make sure he writes down that hotel that you've just mentioned, because he's going to go and Google it before he forgets.
I'm even going to take up golf. I've never played before, so
I think you do very well. I'll be your caddy. They are Will. Excellent. I'll be your caddy. Gentlemen, thank you so much. And I'm really sure you're going to join me.
She'll be offering you as well, Steve. She'll be your caddy as well, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Massive.
And can look at the balls because I'm not very good.
Steve, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks,
That's
Honestly,
fantastic.
thank you so very, very, very much. And I hope we haven't put you off and that you'd like to come and join us again and share some more stories.
I'd love that. Thank you. Yeah, it's been great
cheers,
to,
mate.
great to be here.
Yeah.
Everybody out there, have a fantastic weekend, and we shall see you next week. Take care, all.
Take care. Cheers.
you.
Thanks a lot.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.